Hi, I'm Blake Boldon, Franklin P. Johnson, Director of the Drake Relays, and today I'm getting a chance to sit down with the 10th Director of the Drake Relays, Mr. Mark Kostek. Mark, how are you?
I'm doing well, Blake. Always good to see your face, my friend.
Yeah, good to see you. And we were just joking here, chatting and catching up. This is the second time we've had this conversation. I had a technical error that, we're all learning in this new space of working from home and what that means. And so I apologize, but I'm especially grateful for your generosity of time and spirit. So I know what you've been up to lately, but tell the Drake Relays fans and officials and all those who in Des Moines still have big love for you, what you've been up to this spring and how you're doing.
Well, personally, we're doing fine. However, as we discussed, I had some emergency travel just recently. My background is really I'm sitting on a Three Seasons room in North Carolina right now, dealing with some personal issues, some family issues, but things are well. And we're moving forward, and just it was really an odd coronavirus type of travel with only maybe there was about 8 people on the flight from Omaha to Charlotte and about the same number from Charlotte to New Bern, North Carolina. It was odd, but nonetheless it was the airline industry is doing a good job of social distancing, doing the things that's necessary. So I felt very comfortable and safe while traveling. So it was good.
Well, thanks for making time under the circumstances. When we spoke earlier this week, we talked about your plans to commemorate the Drake Relays. To tell us how special the last weekend in April is for you.
Blake, the last weekend in April for me the love affair started in 1974. I compete. I had the opportunity and the distinct privilege of competing as a freshman from the University of Kansas at the time, in the Drake Relays. Competed Friday morning in the javelin, throwing in the stadium. We were throwing from south to north, and that was a treat. That was a real treat. And then of course, waking up Saturday morning, our team was at the Hotel Fort Des Moines, and
Yeah.
and woke up to the parade, the Drake Relays parade, and I thought this was the most special moment ever. They're having a parade for us, and I thought that was really a cool thing. And from then on, my affection has grown over the 45, 46 years it's been since I've been a college freshman. It's been awesome.
Yeah, well, I do want to talk about that wonderful run of 45 years. But first, is there anything this weekend that you might be doing that is just special to you, or something that you're doing to commemorate the relays this weekend?
Well, I can't go to Peggy's, so and to be quite honest with you, I've only been there once. That was a situation where Dave Blank and I went there after the Friday afternoon session of the Drake Relays when I was the director there. Didn't know much about that aspect of the Drake Relays, and oh my goodness, we stepped in there and it was like, okay, it's time to leave. It was truly a party. I'm not going to be partying quite like that. I'm here with my 92-year-old dad, my 90-year-old stepmom, and my stepbrother Mark. So we'll have a nice dinner and we'll talk about my experiences with the relays. Things have changed a little bit since then. I do have some Drake Relays glasses, but they're at home. And I normally would put an adult beverage in and toast the relays, but at this point in time, I'm not gonna have to change that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds like you'll have a special weekend nonetheless. But as you think back over, since 1974 and that time, and not just your experience as an athlete, but your experience as a director, a leader in the community, what are some of your favorite memories? One or two of those that really stand out to you?
Gosh, as a that I was an athlete from 74 through 76, 78, and those were special moments. The special moment of Carl Lewis at the relays, and just the people that followed him. The Michael Johnson moments, the Jeff Hartwig breaking the American record, the Perdita Felician and the Kalur sisters breaking the world record, or the world best in the shuttle hurdle relay. Kelly Suttle and Stacy Dragila. Stacy Dragila was 2003 when she was taking a whack at the world record. That was fun. But also during that time, Blake, there was a special moment for you as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Well, I've got some fun memories of you as the director and what you did during that time. Certainly built a lot of excitement.
Yeah.
One story. I'll tell you a story it's a Mark Kostek memory that I've heard from a mutual friend, Mark Mish, who coaches at the University of Colorado Springs now. And he shared with me that he had a young man. So it was 2003. I was running the University 1500, but you had a young man from a Southwest Baptist University down in Bolivar, Missouri, where Mark coached. Reese Tedford was pacing the Invitational Mile, which I believe Boaz Chaboywo won the race.
Right.
I don't remember who else was in it, but it was a really good field. And the agreement that you and Mark had made was that in exchange for him providing the pacer, you would allow him to bring 3 of his athletes and put them each 100 meters apart. And he just thought, for those 3 kids that got to be on the infield in the middle of the Drake relays, reading 100-meter splits for their teammate. He just said it was the biggest thing in the world, and it was really just it was symbiotic, but it was really a gesture of generosity from you that allowed that to happen for his team.
Well, thank you for sharing that. One of the things that I always did on Saturday of the Drake relays is I did 2 things. I would always go on top of the press box and just stand up there and just take an overview of it, of this unbelievable event that I had a part in. And just looking at that and looking at the colors and looking at the pageantry and seeing the flags and just taking it in awe. And then I would always go down to the middle of the field and take it in from the ground level and go around and talk with the officials and thank them and do the things that was necessary. But just the love affair that I have for the Drake relays, but the love affair that so many people have for this event. It was a situation I really found out early on in my tenure as the relays director that, this event was much, much bigger than I, and that there were so many people that had vested interest in the event that really all that I could do was enhance it. I couldn't screw it up because they wouldn't let me. And so it was a situation where all I wanted to do was just enhance it and bring it forward, taking in the moment when you could, because you get so caught up with the trees that you don't see the forest. And it was gorgeous. It was a wonderful time, and for me, it was probably one of the more special times of my career.
Well, acknowledging that it was such a special time and you built lifelong friendships, and I'm lucky to consider myself a friend of Mark Kostek, and I really thank you for all your mentorship, the advice you've given me. I'll always remember that lunch we shared in Orlando in my second week on the job, where you really helped set the table for me what I need to accomplish, not just in the first 5 months, but even the first 18 months or 36 months in my role. So thank you for that. But knowing that I'm not the only person that has admiration and respect for your contribution to our community, is there a message that you'd like to share with officials, community members here in Des Moines, maybe old colleagues with the Relays Committee? Is there anything you'd like to share with them today?
There are so many people, Blake, that have stepped up to the plate for me. When I first got started, Dave Blank hired me Dr. David Maxwell was just awesome with me as we went through the fundraising campaign for the renovation of the stadium. Obviously, those two people are very special in the community. Bill Knapp, Bill Kraus. Were a couple guys that stretched me. Dennis Boldon he was the executive vice president of Come and Go at the time, and he was our relays chair. And following him, it was Gary Osborne, and those two guys really stretched. And we reorganized the relays. We reorganized the relays committee at the time. They made me stretch. And then, of course, you have Kirk Tyler from Coca-Cola and Steve Purcell from MediaCom and Greg Edwards at the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Those guys were just pouring into me, stretching me to make the event better. They were capturing the vision that I had for the event. They captured it and made it their own, and were saying, think about this, think about that, and so we really had a wonderful relationship, and I had their ear and they had my ear. And so it was really kind of an exciting time to really enhance the relays and that was just I'm very, very thankful for those. For the officials, that's the bread and butter of the Drake relays. Without them, it doesn't work. And there are hundreds of people that are involved, from the officials to the volunteers, and it, the old adage, it takes a village. That's the Drake relays, man, because you're setting up a community and moving those people forward, and so one of my best hires was Carolyn Hill. I tried to talk her out of it. I tried to talk her out of taking the job. But she was a superstar and really helped us all.
Well, I'm very glad she didn't listen to you.
I think all of us are, really.
Yeah, and I think one thing that maybe a common ticket holder or even a coach, and really myself included until I found myself in my current role, a thing that people may take for granted in the sport of track and field is you go to a basketball game or a football game or a baseball game, any other sporting event really, and count the number of officials that you need. 3, 4, 5, 6, and they do have to be experts and be ready to make any call in any moment. But that same level of expertise is required for a track and field meet. You need 6 or 8 of that level of expertise just for one field event, let alone the running event. And over the course of a 3-day massive invitational relay meet like the Drake Relays, it takes 200 or 250 officials to successfully execute a world-class athletic competition by the rules and fairly. And that's something that I know that's part of your legacy at the Drake Relays, and really professionalizing the officials group, creating that structure and emphasis that we do need 200 people who view this as a professional contribution to the sport and to the event. So that's a credit to you. And I know in our last conversation, we chatted a little bit about what you're up to these days, not just this moment this week in a heartfelt, sincere way with your family, but more broadly. Can you tell us about some of the work you're doing in the sport still to this day?
Well, I think I'm very involved in the sport. I am the Secretary of Rules Editor for the NCAA. So I do all the rule interpretations as well as write the rule book, along with the NCAA track or cross country committee, or track and field and cross country committee. We work together. Right now, we're in the process of a rules change year. So we've gone through probably 200 documents already, and we continue to do so. Just received some today that we need to go through, and so it's a labor of love. But this love affair started in 1969 when I was a high school freshman in the sport of track and field. it's something that I love, something that I feel as if I can contribute to the sport, and hopefully it'll be better during the season of time while it's under my watch.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your time. I know you're busy, not just with the time with family during this very challenging time for us all, but especially with the NCAA rule book and all you do. I've learned that you can be an incredible resource for me, not just with the Drake Relays, but year round, and helping me gain a better understanding of that. So thanks for your leadership in the sport and all you do. As we wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to add, or anything else you'd like to share in this special Relays week?
Well, I want to challenge the people that have an opportunity to listen to this, that they do something special in 2020 for the Drake Relays. Either join the Baton Club, or be involved in some way, either with the Drake University and the Drake Relays, or the communities in support of the Drake Relays. It's important. It's a treasure that Iowa and the city of Des Moines has, and it's something that shouldn't be taken lightly. And to be quite honest with you, the Drake Relays, and you've done a marvelous job with this, Blake. The Drake Relays is not a 1 week out of the 52-week event in the year. This is something that happened. The Drake Relays lives all year long, 24/7. And so people need to understand that. People need to embrace that. And I challenge them to get involved.
Thank you. I couldn't have said it better. In fact, there's no chance I would have been able to say that. So thank you very much, Mark. I really appreciate those parting words. And thanks again for your time this week, twice, both times. Very different conversations, but really enjoyable. So thank you very much.
You take good care of yourself, my friend. Stay
Likewise.
healthy, stay well.
See you soon.